Hello, everybody. This is Jonathan with the Balloon Guild, and I want to show you how to use our mural template so that you can create your own mural from Canva. So first thing you're going to want to do is you would open up the template link that you would find on the website, and then what you're going to get is this design here. It's going to take a minute to load because each of these circles there's 900 circles on here. It is a 30 by 30 mural, which means 30 balloons long, 30 balloons tall. So it does slow things down a little bit to use it. But the next thing you're going to do once you have this opened, you could copy this and then you could work off your own blank copies every time, or you could go to our website every time and use the template link every time. I'm going to just do a butterfly. What I searched for was a hex pixel butterfly. And then you could pick whatever floats your boat. I just grabbed this one here because it seemed like a good one to use. And it seems like one that would probably be relatively easy to show you. What you're going to do first is you want to get the design sized how you want it to be. And in this case, what I really want to do for this image is I would like to see if it'll remove that grid background from it. Yeah, perfect. So now I can, because this doesn't have a background, it's a little easier for me to line it up with the balloons on the image. So I can get this part of it kind of how I would like it to be, which I think I want it right here. Okay, next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the three dots, you're going to go to the layer button, and you're going to send it to the back. Now, before you click on anything else, you see how I still have that box available. I think I can move it. Yeah, I can still move this as long as it's behind everything. So now is when you want to really take a second or two and get this thing lined up exactly where you want it to be. Now, what you're about to do is you're about to basically color in all the blocks to match the color of the design that you've put on it. Depending on what your design is going to really determine how specifically in line you need to get with the coloring. This is a butterfly, so I'm not really worried if every single one is exactly perfect. But what we are working with is a 30 by 30 grid of white balloon shapes. And right now they are all grouped. So in order for me to do anything with this, the next step is to ungroup them. So you're going to click anywhere on this big square. You're going to ungroup. Again, it's going to take a second for your computer to get it all sorted, right? At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of work across the top, I think, because I think that would be the easiest. And I'm going to hold down the shift button. And I think I want this one to be here. I'm going to do 2 rows at a time going across the top. And I'm going to select everything that I want to be black. I'm going to go ahead and just change those to black, and I'm going to undo one of them. So that one I want to put back to white. And it's this off-white here. It actually says light blue, but it's an off-white. So like I said, I want to go 2 rows at a time, starting at the top. And I'm doing this because I kind of want to make sure that I am keeping everything relatively similar. So what I'm trying to do here is keep some spacing so that I can have the pattern have some holes in it for the color that we're going to work with. And all I'm focusing on right now is the black. I'm not focusing on any other color. Go ahead and do these antenna because they're easy. Now, if you're doing this and it ends up getting a little bit weird, there is a place later where you can modify this and you can tweak your design to make sure that it's going to look exactly how you want it to look. So don't really worry if this ends up being something that's not perfect right out of the gate. If this happens where you accidentally drag your image a little bit, you really just want to hit the, you can hit this back button here and get it back to where you need it to be. And right now I'm just focusing on the black. If you wanted, you could do you could do everything. Do the color while you're doing the black. I think it would be a little easier for this design just to do one color though at a time. Okay, so now I'm going to do the orange. And I will tell you also not to worry about the fact that it looks a little funky. We're going to clean all that up. Okay, so now I'm going to do the yellow. And I'm going to try to fill in anything that I feel like maybe I missed with the black. And then once I'm done with the yellow, I'll show you how we fix everything, if there's anything that needs to be fixed. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm done for the most part. So now what we want to do is we want to get the original image out. And the best way to do that is to highlight the whole thing. Then you're going to go to position and then layers. Now, once this loads up all of the layers, remember it's loading each of these individual balloons. So there's 900 balloons here. The image is going to be at the very bottom because we sent it to the back earlier. And what that means is it's behind all of these balloons. And the only thing that's going to be underneath your image is the layers that we've locked so that they don't get in the way when you're trying to edit a thing. So what you want to do is you want to select the image and you're going to hit these three buttons and then you're going to delete your image. Okay, then what you want to do is highlight all of this again. And you want to go to this transparency section and put it at 100. And then this is what's going to give you your final look. And you can edit things from here as you want. So you can see that I need to change this balloon to black. You can take a look and see, is there anything else? I think down here, I don't really like the way that looks. So I'm going to highlight these and I'm going to turn them black as well. And you can give your design a once over to make sure that you determine if you like it or not. I think these probably also I want black. And then for design purposes, I might come up into this section here and make that one white. The white that we use is, it actually says light blue, but it's like a off-white. So that's the one that you want to pick when you're going to add it back in. I think I want to add, I want these to be orange. I think it'll look better. Boom. Okay, so this is our design. Now, what I want to do from here is if this was going to be a wall and I was making the entire wall, then you would actually color all of these as well. And you can see how easy it would be if you wanted all of this to be grass, for example. Boom. You could highlight that grass if you wanted. At this point, if you wanted all of this to be sky, I'm going to show you probably the easiest way, and I'm going to tell you it's going to change these balloons too, but we can change these back. The easiest way would be to hit that button there, pick whatever color you want for the sky, and then hit this change all button. Now, it changed the balloons inside the butterfly because they were the same color, but there's a lot less of them to select, so we can put this back a lot easier by fixing it this way. And we're going to put those into this color here. Okay. So this would be our finished design. Now, this is what your design will look like. But what really we need is we need to create our template in order to build this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the entire thing and I'm going to copy it. You can also copy it, duplicate it here. If you duplicate it there, you're going to drag this duplicate down here. But I copied it with my keyboard, so now I'm going to paste it using my keyboard as well. You got to give it time to load because it's 900 balloons. And then what you're going to see is that this image overlaps all those numbers. So you do need to shrink it down a little. And this will make it much more manageable to work with. And you want the top row to kind of be right at the top next to the number 1. From here, we're going to highlight everything except the top 2 rows of balloons. And then we're going to space these out. Just provide a little bit of space, and you want this one to be kind of right next to the number 2. If you're a perfectionist like me, you see that pink line on the side, you're going to try to get that line matched up so that like you're not setting it here. You want it to be in line with the rows above. So that looks good. And every time, all I'm doing each time is I'm grabbing everything except the top 2 rows. And then I'm bringing all the rest of it down to the next number. And you're just doing that process over and over and over. If you find that you don't have very much space between your rows, then chances are that you didn't shrink your image down enough. You really want to get it shrunk down enough that you can have that separation whenever you move the balloons apart. Now, if you were doing this as a mural, like a layered mural where this butterfly was all by itself as an add-on, before I start separating this out, I would delete everything that is not going to be part of my design. Then I would start separating it out. Okay, so this is what you can use as your template. So we have a video on an introduction to balloon murals. And in that video, Anaite shows you how to take this template and to create a balloon mural using that template. I highly recommend you watching that if you're not familiar with how to use this. But what you're trying to do with this process that I just showed you is get from this picture to these rows that you can separate out, and you can build your mural with this as a guide. So hopefully this helps. I think this is a pretty awesome tool, and I think you guys are going to find great use for it if you're the kind of person who likes designing your own murals. And if you are, this is for you. I think it's pretty cool, and let me know what you guys think.